Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Ramble on Movie Reviews. I am Vlad St. Valentine. Sitting next to me is the lovely Miss Riz. What's going on?
Not a lot. I'm just here to, ramble on and review some pretty queer shit, y'all.
That is a little definition of what the title implies, yes. So today, on our special Pride Month episode, we rolled the dice of power to choose what movie we're going to watch, and we couldn't find it, so we just decided to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Harley Quinn instead. So our rolls and spins mean nothing. This is all a house of lies. Go to hell if you have a problem with it. I decided to call a unilateral move and not reshoot the die roll and just admit it openly because I think that's funnier.
Yeah, that's kind of. Let's be real. We thought about staging it, but we just couldn't be that dishonest with y'all.
Not gonna lie to you. We're openly dishonest.
We really wanted to do what the dice said, but it just was not feasible with our streaming access.
Yeah, it was
Strange Frame was what the dice told us to watch, but
French animated film, and it was not available in our region, unfortunately. And it was one of those, I could have popped the VPN on, but you know what? NordVPN doesn't sponsor us yet, so I'm not going to hawk a VPN. All right.
Or any of the other VPNs. There's many out there. But there's a lot.
Once one of you guys sponsors us, then we'll worry about it.
And we know y'all don't have scruples about who you sponsor, so get on it. Sponsor the show. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're at least, I know I'm intolerant, but at least I'm openly, openly apologetic about my intolerance.
That's your 9th one. You have 10th great tolerance.
Again, I said this on our Stray Dogs episode. I'm a white middle-class Christian from the suburbs. The stuff that comes out of my mouth sometimes is going to be terrible, and forgive me, I'm trying.
He is trying. I see the effort. It's appreciated. We're all fallible humans. As long as we listen to each other and grow.
You know what? If the old adage, you can tell a lot about a man by the friends he keeps, I think I'm passing the test.
Well, I think this is a great segue into the subject that we're here to specifically ramble on about, which is Mac finds his pride from
start there instead of Harley?
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and start there. I think I got the segue for that because you were really
I worked on this one.
Your attitude is pretty
Frankish.
Pretty Frankish in that you got a very frank attitude.
I don't think I'm that.
No, but
I didn't start from that ignorant of a level.
No, but the spirit of it that however unclear things were to Frank in the specific about how Mac felt, Frank was insistent on being there for Mac, and especially towards the end of the episode, he got started on for wrong reasons and with this mission and what have you. But towards the end of the episode, Frank says, "No, forget the flow, forget all that. What we need to do is this thing for you to honestly express yourself and let out what your honest self is."
I don't want to derail you, but we need to set up what we're talking about to everyone real quick.
Right.
I want you to keep going because I don't know your train of thought. But anyway, so we watched the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia called
Mac Finds His Pride,
which is an episode that has made me cry multiple times. I find it one of the most sincere, beautiful representation of queer struggle from actually a cast of straight people and writers. It's the closest I think straight people have come to expressing to the queer community that we kind of understand or we're trying to understand. And I'm saying this as a straight guy. Maybe I don't know. But from my point of view, I think this is the best attempt from us as straight people to try and express to the queer community in the representation to say, we're trying to understand, we openly love you, and we want to, we understand the beauty in these moments, and we will try and show it visually as well in our artistic mediums. You're not alone in these things. And that's why, to me, this episode makes me cry. It's not just the content of the episode, it's what this episode means being an episode written by straight people as a love letter to what the struggle is and what people go through. I see that's the lens I see it through, being from where I come from.
And I think I really appreciated it in juxtaposition to the usual tone that Always Sunny takes to subjects.
I guess we should actually run into the plot, right?
Well, because I mean, in general, most Always Sunny, like kind of the formula for Always Sunny is, hey, look at
how terrible these people are.
Like really, really awful people make really awful choices for half an hour and get like nowhere because of it.
Which is it's usually pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's I mean, that's part of its appeal as part of what's like had me come, I don't watch.
Our favorite shows are based on failure. Venture Brothers and this. They're all just sitting around failure.
I mean, I don't watch it like on a consistent basis. Like it's not something I'm like putting on regularly, but man, like I do.
Don't TV stop us. I don't watch television that much.
No. I watch lots of television. It's just, but it is a show that I keep coming back to because like there's a certain catharsis in just the shittiness and just like gut-wrenching like nihilism of the show that it's a way to experience some feels that I don't necessarily indulge in on a daily basis. But in standing in stark contrast, Mac finds his pride.
So the plot real quick here is the gang is going to put a float on for a gay pride parade. I guess it's going to happen in Philadelphia. And they want Mac to be on the float because he's the only actual gay there. Like, we can't get a fake gay. They'll see right through that. We'll see. But Mac has just recently come out and he's not really sure about himself being a gay man because he's been in the closet for several seasons and he's just now come out and he doesn't really know where he fits in the community and he's having a lot of inner struggle and inner turmoil. But Frank has been assigned to be the one who gets him on the damn float. So Frank early on has just got a mission to do. So, he's like, we're going to find your pride. We're going to make you happy. You're going to figure out whatever it is and we're going to get you happy. So we got a day to do this. We can get you, let's do it in a day because we got to get you on the damn float. And
all the while fighting a very severe nosebleed and stuffing all sorts of accoutrement up his nostrils.
And he takes him to a BDSM party, which hilarity ensues. But ultimately, he comes to the conclusion that Mac needs to tell his dad and come out to his father and tell him that he's gay. And, they go to the prison, his his dad, and his dad assumes that the news is that he's going to be a grandfather and Mac is going to be a child, and Mac can't tell him. He's like, oh, yeah, you're going to be a dad, you're going to be a granddad, and I imagine a lot of that is maybe it isn't a hyperbole of actual situations that happen. Maybe that's happened. Maybe that's an actual, you freak out and you just go with the lie. I'm sure many people have gotten to the point where they thought they were going to come out and then just totally retracted and sit back down. No judgment. I can't imagine trying to be in that position.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely I know folks who have say been more out in certain spaces than others.
Look, guys, if you ever get to the point where you're coming out to your family and you get cold feet, don't just step into another lie on top of it. All right. Just be like, he's like, I'm going to be a granddad. Like, oh, no, you're not. I just want to tell you, I'm going to start a woodworking business. I'm going to make some amazing furniture or something. You know what I mean? Like, just like fall into a lie that's easy to throw away. If you're going to fall into a lie to back out of what your news was, don't fall into the I'm having a kid lie. Because like, unless you're going to go Angelina Jolie and start adopting a bunch of like Chinese like girls, you're probably not going to be able to produce a baby in enough time to satisfy the lie.
I mean, there's always Craigslist.
So Matt keeps expressing during this episode that he doesn't think he can tell his dad what he's feeling. He wants to show him. And eventually the day of the float comes and, Frank has gotten fed up with Max not getting on board with things. He gets Cricket, who's dressed like Rob Halford, if Rob Halford was Roadkill. Roadkill Rob Halford. Like very like leather daddy,
He-Man like battle harness type leather daddy outfit. Just pretty.
Think Vince Vaughn in Dodgeball.
Yeah.
He must be daddy.
So yeah, Frank discovers the catharsis
of
letting it flow when he finally unplugs his nosebleed. The blood had been swelling into his face all day, and he looked like a ghoul. Like his face was or like that. How it was from remind me which Star Trek movie was
Nemesis.
His Nemesis.
The face stretched.
Yeah. Like Danny DeVito's face just looked all like you could.
He was halfway through his Tim Burton penguin prosthetics.
Yeah.
It was the halfway point. It's like he'd been sitting for 2 hours.
Everything but the final nose tip. And he finally just unplugged his nose and the blood just.
And Paul Rubens didn't throw him in a river.
Yeah, and just all over his shirt or whatever. But that
his face swelling went down.
But yeah, his face all went down, and he just looked like he'd been punched in both eyes instead of somebody had slow roasted his head over his spit.
Or shoved a bike pump into it, inflated it twice the size.
Yeah. So he brought this revelation of catharsis to Mac and was like, never mind the float, never mind the parade,
let it out.
You need to let it out because you're just going. The longer that you just hold this in, you're just
gonna be in
suffering. So you're just gonna suffer.
I've been in pain all day with this, and you need to let it out, or you're gonna be in pain the rest of your life.
Yeah. And so that support helped give Mac the courage to perform the piece that he'd been working on, which the lady that was leaving when Frank was showing up earlier, the lady that was coming out of the apartment, was not some lady that, as Frank thought, Mac had just slept with. It was Mac's dance partner for a interpretive dance routine that he had been working on and developing to express his sexuality and everything. It was really beautiful. It's a really beautiful payoff.
Frank, not knowing this, and I'm following along with your praise of what Frank was doing, and looking at it all, and stepping back and looking at what he actually did. He never understood it because he didn't understand to the very end. Because he openly have that moment, that specific beautiful, beautiful moment. But even before that moment, he comes to the understanding that we just talked about in the letting it go. But then, just to support Mac, no longer with a purpose behind it, no longer the selfish reason, he goes and bribes all the prison guards to set up this show and tells them Blake Shelton's going to be there and the warden and make sure that, Mac's dad's going to be front row and sets everything up for him, gets props for him and all this stuff. He doesn't even know what's going to happen. But he's like, you know what? You need this and whatever it takes. And Frank, throughout all the episodes, has never liked Mac. Even before this became part of the issue, he's always thought he was a fucking weirdo. Because originally his Mac being in the closet was always it was a joke. It was played as a joke originally because you didn't actually think Mac was gay. He just had overly homoerotic tendencies from an over masculine attitude, which is pretty fucking funny. I never took offense to much of it. It was always usually pretty funny. There's some pretty latent homoeroticism in a lot of very hyper masculine culture that just usually doesn't get depending on the circles, doesn't really get touched on, openly acknowledged. But let's face it, if you're into being super buff, that's. And I mean this with no shade and all the praise, but that's a little gay.
So, He-Man. Ow! Oh, I'm sorry. Did I punch you too hard? Yes, I suppose you don't know your own strength. I mean, look at your muscles. Oh, stop it. You're the one with the sick abs. God, my mouth is watering just looking at you. Yeah, that's right. You buy your kids ridiculously homoerotic dolls and then ask what happened? Yep. Your gay son is on you, buddy. Explain that to your god.
But yeah, so that the episode, Mac finds his pride, ends with this just beautiful
it never fails to draw a tear from me.
With Sigaros for the music, which just chef's kiss on that musical choice.
It was honestly, it's one of those things you watch everything and all the components that go into it. The dance that Mac, the actor Rob McElhenney did on a wet surface the choice of the music, the choice of the lighting, the way they chose to interpret everything, the sum of its parts came together as something that I honestly didn't think people who've been giving me this up to that point were capable of. I'm not saying they're not talented people, but I didn't know that this level of depth and beauty could come from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And let's not forget to shout praise for Mac's dance partner, because I don't remember her name. Like looking up at the cast list. Here on screen, maybe, I don't know, added in post.
No, that's what Caden does. He does Caden shit. You yell it in 5 minutes. That's Caden work.
But yeah, because I mean, any choreographer will tell you, like, it's like the really professionals can make that star look that much better. Like Jill Barrett does a great video about the Butcher of Blaviken scene in the Witcher series, and how like all these like minions that Geralt is, slicing through, Cavill looks Cavill worked very hard to get down like the choreography and things like that, but all of those people that he is stage fighting with are like professional stage fighters, and a big part of their job is making that lead just look that good. Not to say that Mac didn't work really hard to learn all that stuff, but she carried it. Yes, she definitely helped carry. We're not saying
she was a professional. It's like watching Dancing with the Stars. All right, the stars, like Bill Nye can do a serviceable damn job, but the partner's carrying the thing.
Oh yeah,
I get what you mean. Yeah. So this episode was, I can't say it's my favorite episode of It's Always Sunny, because I kind of take it apart from the whole series as a thing unto itself.
It really is.
It was kind of them taking a moment to go, we don't always have to be ridiculous. And something I appreciate, being the slightly right of center Christian average white dude or whatever in the group, is as progressive morals are more prevalent in our society, and as we are learning to be conscious of the things we say and we do, and we try to evolve the way that we treat people and the way we think, occasionally we feel shit on a lot of times because from some pop culture stuff, it's just telling us what you've done bad and you're bad people. It's like, I'm trying. I promise. I'm not inherently evil. When we get things like Frank, who is ignorant, but not evilly ignorant, not malicious. It's just he's having to face up to his ignorance and try and learn. Like Big Mouth. We talked about Big Mouth earlier, when Matt comes out to his dad, his super conservative dad. His dad's like, I know who you are. I love you. It's nice to have that sometimes. It honestly feels like an olive branch from the other side to feel like the writers going like, hey, we usually shit on that side, but we realize there's some people in that group, because we probably have some members in our family who are right wing that are not terrible fucking people. And I'm just saying, it feels nice to have that sometimes. I like Frank in this episode because of that reason, outside of just the dancing. And then whenever he comes to after he sees, and first of all, we can talk about the religious elements, because the dance was supposed to represent angel or God. And again, that's something else I appreciate, because Mac does not let go of this faith as he comes out in with his sexuality. And that's something that I really appreciate too. Mac's never been the greatest representative of Christianity, because he's supposed to be the ignorant side of Christianity. But in this episode, they kind of disregard a lot of that, which is something I usually bitch about as far as continuity in TV shows. It's always Sunny. Who fucking cares?
They weren't as explicit about it, but at least not in like
but they didn't make it a
lines.
Joke this time.
Right, they didn't make it a joke.
Everything about Mac was taken seriously in this episode, whereas everything about Mac beforehand has been fucking clown shoes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Everything about the show is pretty clown shoes.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. This episode, I don't really consider it's a thing unto itself.
Yeah.
So for one episode, Mac's faith is a serious thing that he's battling with, and it's not a joke, and he's not a bigot about it. He is a gay man who still is a Christian, who's battling with what that means.
Catholic.
What it means to, oh God. Yeah, you're right. What it means to come out and still be a person of faith. Like the person who taught me when I worked in radio, who taught me how to work a board, was a lesbian woman who was like, spent all of her off time working soundboard for a church and stuff like that, you know? So she was a super, super Christian. And so like the idea that, that Christianity has to be oppressive against the LGBT community is just absolutely disgusting, and I find absolutely reprehensible and abhorrent to the actual tenets of what Christ commands us to as Christians, and that is to love as he loved us. That's not love each other as you love yourself. That's because, again, our self-love can sometimes be lacking, as you were pointing out earlier, and sometimes it could be overly inflated. See our last president. But what,
that dude doesn't have no love for himself.
But what Christ commanded was to love as he loved, which is an unconditional, completely accepting love without end. And without condition. I hate to keep repeating myself.
Well, it's on
so to get that out there and to actually be loving and to show that you can hold on to your faith and still be true to yourself. And this episode did that. It showed someone who was horribly, horribly, offensively ignorant still be given a chance and shown as a human who could come around to it. I appreciate this. And again, maybe it's because it was written by straight people and they came from those points of view.
So I think like the thing that really resonated with me throughout it was that theme of letting go. Like Frank's most lucid moments in that episode, his moments of direct revelation were the moments where he was letting go. First, letting go of him trying to like stuff the blood up his nose. And then the letting go of himself and his perspective watching Mac's performance of Mac's honest self. He, in that moment, eyes on stage, was able to completely lose himself in Mac's expressive experience. And that allowed him to click with it, to get it.
And you know, he also kept looking over to Mac's dad to see how was he responding.
And yeah, until he walked out, and then he was once Mac's dad bailed, like Frank did not take his eyes from the stage.
Which actually again goes back to the whole I was saying about how if you look at this, and I know I kept saying we separate from the other episodes, but if you tie back into how Frank's treatment repeatedly, Frank doesn't like Mac. Not the gay thing, just doesn't like Mac. He thinks Mac's a fucking weirdo and a creep, which Mac has always been a weirdo and creep up to this point. Let's face it. Frank's not wrong.
This again is a show about awful people.
Yeah. Frank in this moment, though, was worried about how Mac's dad was going to respond, not for Mac's dad's sake, but for Mac's sake. Mm-hmm. And then when Mac's dad walked out, he was solely focused on understanding himself so he could be there for his friend at this point. Rob McElhenney and Danny DeVito in this episode it's the standout episode of the series, possibly, and their performance in it has elevated what these people can do, honestly, or what we can see. I'm at a loss for words. I'm sorry. I keep stuttering over it. But again, like I said, we're used to seeing these people act like awful people doing awful things all the time. And they basically said, hold my fucking beer. Let me show you that we're artists. And you know what? Fucking good job, all of you.
And I think it's a brilliant move because now when they continue to do make awful choices, it punches all that much harder. It's like, damn it, I know you can be better than this. I know you're capable of more. Oh.
So I'm going to call unilateral moves since we're at 40 minutes already, and we're just going to make this whole episode about Mac. It's Always Sunny. And in that case, because otherwise we need to cut off and move on, but let's talk about the dance itself.
Okay.
And So he talked about the woman because as he was talking about this, he was talking about this hot woman was a representation of God or an angel sent down by God. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the turmoil in his dancing is...
Mac was talking about this, not Frank.
Yes, sorry. It's a lot like Bohemian Rhapsody, actually. Mm-hmm. Which is a song about the struggle and the fight between your soul, one side or the other. Will you let me go? We won't let you go. You know what I mean? I've killed a man. I've killed my masculinity. It's the song about him coming out. That Bohemian Rhapsody is Freddie Mercury's epic opus of coming out, really. And it's a little hard to get that from if you just listen to the album. If you watch it live with the light show and stuff, it's a little more. It's easier to pick up on the true meaning of that song. Mm-hmm. I think maybe I'm wrong. But I got it when I watched it live. I never had got it before that point. It's what it was really talking about. But that opus, that coming out, that epic point, lost my train of thought. Fuck me. What were we on about?
The dance.
Max being able to express himself in that epic, beautiful way is... Fuck it. Keep going. Y'all go on. I've lost my train of thought now. Sorry.
It was wet. It was a very wet dance. There was water everywhere. It was storming, y'all. There was a storm inside of Mac. And God sent him an angel. It was a very hot chick. I've always been into dancers.
The hot woman representing God. Yeah. And the dance itself. So I remember what I was on about. Okay.
The whole crucifix pose right there at the
juxtaposition
start.
The juxtaposition of the dance being a struggle between what you know or what you knew to be your true self, a straight man or a Christian or whatever, battling with your true self and what you're struggling to accept yourself to be. Bohemian Rhapsody, Max Dance, same concepts. That's where I was trying to conflate the two. Sorry. In that struggle and the battling back and forth, the Galileo, we will not let you go, we will not let you go, the dance of all that thing going around. But I would say Max Dance, the struggle, and it's beautifully portrayed, was all within Mac, not the female dancer. If you notice all throughout that, all the heartache expressed in the dance all came from what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Every time he fell into a moment of deep, like when they break down, he stops and cries. He had pushed her away for a moment. And where does he come back? When she comes back and brings him up, and then she holds him and looks up to the light and holds him, right? I don't even think the guys that it's always sending are even fucking religious. I just assume everyone who works in Hollywood's an atheist. I just assume everyone's a fucking atheist. It's not like 20 years ago, I just assumed by default everyone was a Christian. Now I just assume by default everyone's an atheist unless otherwise told. Your thoughts on the dance, though?
The dance is beautiful. I will harp again on the music choice. Sigur Rós has always held a really powerful place in my heart with their music, and as far as bearing your soul kind of dance, perfect song choice to go with that whole ensemble.
There wasn't much to criticize in this.
Really not a lot. And then and again, not to be frozen on the point, but the whole theme of Let It Go.
Yeah. No, you
let it go, turn away and slam the door.
You got your thing, I got mine, because we're coming from two different points of view. You're coming at it from the message that was directed at the LGBT community. The message was, let it go and let go of the things that have been bottling you up inside.
Well, it wasn't direct. It was an all around both
yeah. I'm just saying I came at it from the Frank side. You know what I mean? Those are the things because I was the things I was harping on. I picked up more on where Frank was coming from as opposed to where Mac was coming from. I'm sorry. That's what I meant.
Right. Well, but no, what I'm saying is I also empathize with where Frank was coming from because in the moments in my life where I have had the most like revelatory, like aha moments about other people's experiences that they share with me have been in the moments where I have let go of myself and my perspective for long enough to really take in somebody else's perspective.
But you had to go through a moment of ignorance to get there, didn't you?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Ignorance is crucial to knowledge. Ignorance
So guys, don't crucify people when they say something ignorant if they're trying. Just correct them gently. Guys, thank you so much for joining us in this episode of Ramble On Movie Reviews. I'm very happy we got to review this episode. I know we had a lot of movies on the list, but I secretly was hoping that we got to do this because, again, the only things that make me cry in life are usually a dog being killed. Where the red fern grows, or Old Yeller. That's usually the only time I bawl. But like
Stray Dogs.
I was really hoping for codependent lesbian space alien looking for the same. That was the one I really was hoping the dice would tell us to watch. But I'm still happy with how the night turned out.
We can put them on docket at some point.
Yeah,
we have more nights ahead of us.
That's true.
So hopefully,
for now.
God willing. No, I absolutely love this episode so much, and like I'm not just trying to placate or kiss ass to anything. Like ultimately the things I enjoy the most in life are representations of understanding. It's why I like to go and watch like tribal people try. It's Pakistani tribal people trying American food for the first time and things like that. I like watching and enjoying any time that culturally we bridge the gap in that we ignore the stereotypical hatred that exists between our peoples, because when you just break it down, a person, no matter where they live geographically, just wants the same things: to be safe, secure, and to thrive in their own life, and to have the freedom to do so. We all want to be secure and safe in our knowledge, and the reason we lash out is because we fear that the person next door is going to try and take that from us, And I love anything that's a representation of cultural sharing. I like it when you watch people who grew up on hip hop music enjoy rock and roll for the first time, like Queen, and those cultural sharing moments. I want more of that. I need more of that. I need more of these moments. And again, this episode is so important to me, not because I am part of the LGBT community in any way. I'm not going to try and glom onto it and pretend I am, like some of people do, because it's popular these days. I won't name names. I am who I am, and I'm very aware of that, but I am also a child of a fucking hairdresser who grew up around, a lot of gay men in my life, and
if you won't name names, can I name names?
Oh, you can go right on ahead.
But anyway, let me get out Charles here with I will say and what you were saying about understanding. Recently, it was brought to my attention.
I didn't even finish the thought on that before you do. To wrap up what I mean by understanding this episode, what I stated earlier, this is an episode written by mostly straight
cishet cast.
Yeah, and I think this is the best attempt that we've done as far as in pop culture media to throw that olive branch out to a group that's felt marginalized by us for a long time, to go, hey man, we're at least some of us are trying to comprehend what you're going through. It's like the South Park N-word episode where he finally comes to Toga at the end and goes, I get it, I don't get it.
Acknowledging your own ignorance is one of the wisest things you can do.
Yeah, dude, it's not a bad thing, guys, to not understand. It's a bad thing to willfully not want to understand.
Like I was saying earlier, ignorance is a crucial part of knowledge, and just conscious perception in general. Yeah. We couldn't be conscious without ignoring or being ignorant of most of the information surrounding us.
Yeah, you're back on the quartering, and I try and stay generally towards the middle so I can see both sides. And I know you don't like the middle stuff, and I find myself agreeing with the comics gay people sometimes.
It's just not a safe place to be in the middle of the road. I'm just concerned for your health.
I can pick my side when I need to, but from the middle I can see which side I need to hop on in any given situation. Because I'm not going to be a slave to a fucking party if the party's being unreasonable in any given situation.
I don't see what I have no party loyalty whatsoever to any.
I'm not a
party
slave
here
to
in the
one
US.
side or the other. I'm just not. I will go with what the situation calls for.
To quote our star of the episode, I guess to say,
The reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
Guys, thank you again for joining us tonight. Go watch this episode. It's Always Sunny. It's actually pretty moving from a cast that you didn't think was capable of that. Not to say they weren't talented. I just didn't know they were able to do this, and I was severely impressed. It was very touching, and it's probably one of the most moving 30 minutes of television that FX has ever produced.
I would have to review the FX catalog to stand behind that statement. I think FX is probably
Spike TV Lite.
But no, like I feel like there's been some other solid stuff FX has been behind.
Guys,
that fucking fish.
Gals, I always say guys. I guess that's wrong too. Well, I guess guys isn't really.
Guys, gals, and impals.
Yeah.
It's the whole family.
Y'all.
There you go. I'm keeping it real.
I don't give a fuck what y'all do. Go do something and say hi to your mother for me. All right, ready to do this? Commit capital fraud with a head full of acid.
Yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Lion face, lemon face,
lion face, lemon face, ooh.